Good evening and welcome to the University of Washington College of Education graduation ceremony. My name is Mia Tuan, and as Dean of the College, I have the honor of serving as your MC for this evening as we celebrate our incredible graduates. Before we begin, please join me in thanking the talented School of Music Quintet, Illings Winds, for their beautiful performance during our faculty procession. What a wonderful way to open our celebration. Thank you. Tonight, we gather to honor more than 700 graduates, including over 400 who are here with us in person. These remarkable individuals, current and future educators, researchers, policymakers, and leaders have completed their degrees and are stepping forward, ready to make a meaningful impact in our world. As I look out across this arena, I am filled with joy and pride to see all of you. Family, friends, and supporters gather together to mark this moment with us. And on a personal note, I was one of you as I recently celebrated my youngest daughter's graduation from college. This evening is all about celebrating the class of 2025, a class that has shown incredible resilience, passion, and commitment. They have navigated challenges with courage, and today they stand on the threshold of new beginnings. I'm also delighted to share a few remarkable milestones. This year's graduating class includes 51 double dogs, students earning a second degree from our college, and incredibly, 3 triple dogs who are receiving their third degree from the University of Washington College of Education today. And now, family and friends, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you the 146th graduating class of the University of Washington College of Education. Please be seated. I'd now like to take a moment to honor the land on which we gather. The University of Washington acknowledges the Coast Salish peoples on whose ancestral land we stand, the land which touches the shared waters of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. We honor with deep gratitude the land itself and the many indigenous peoples who continue to live, work, and thrive in this place, alive and strong. This acknowledgement is just one step in an ongoing, lifelong practice of learning from and standing in solidarity with Indigenous communities. Graduates, it's a hot one, but I know that this is a day that you've long anticipated, a day to celebrate how far you've come and to look ahead with hope and purpose to the impact you'll make in our world. But today is also a moment to reflect on the people who have walked beside you in this journey. Your family, your friends, your mentors, and your peers. Each of them has offered support, encouragement, and love, especially during the difficult moments. Many of them are here tonight, beaming with pride and sharing in your joy. I invite you now to turn, find your people in the crowd, and show them your appreciation. Now, in a few moments, we'll hear from our keynote speaker as well as two powerful voices from the class of 2025. But first, I'd like to share a few thoughts on the theme that unites all of tonight's reflections: unleashing creativity. In the face of growing complexity and deep-rooted inequities, our world urgently needs new ideas, new solutions, and new ways of being in community with one another. Creativity is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's how we imagine better futures and how we design the systems, classrooms, and communities that will bring those futures to life. Whether you're becoming a teacher or administrator or a researcher, counselor, policymaker, or youth advocate, your work will be essential to this effort. Your creativity will shape more inclusive learning environments, more just policies, and more compassionate leadership. And you're ready. You've been prepared by one of the top public colleges of education in the nation. You've studied, practiced, collaborated, and persevered. You carry with you not only deep expertise, but also the values and vision to help ensure that every child can grow up surrounded by love, community, good health, and opportunity. Tonight, our speakers will reflect on how they are using their education to ignite creative change in our world. On that note, it's my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker Estela Ortega. Estela is a visionary leader, a lifelong activist, and a fierce advocate for equity and justice. She's the co-founder and executive director of El Centro de la Raza, where for more than 5 decades, she has led groundbreaking work in civil rights and community empowerment. Under her leadership, El Centro has grown into a vital and beloved institution, providing services in education, housing, economic development, cultural enrichment, and advocacy to generations of community members. Talk about unleashing creativity in service of making the world a better place. Please join me now in welcoming to the podium Estela Ortega.
Hello, Huskies. All right. Buenas noches, good evening, esteemed faculty, fathers and mothers, madres y padres, abuelitos y abuelitas, cousins, aunts, uncles, friends, and most importantly, the illustrious class of 2025. Woo! A special shout out to Dean Mia Tuam for the invitation to be one of your speakers this evening. It is a long way from rural Texas, where I grew up, to this stage today. What an incredible privilege to stand before you. Tonight we gather to honor and celebrate you, your achievements, your perseverance, and your bright future ahead. Congratulations, class of 2025. You did it. You did it. While I do not know you personally, I do know some things about you. I know you have strong will. I know you are disciplined. You embrace hard work and excellence, but you will have faced setbacks, difficulties, moments of sorrow and moments of self-doubt, and still you persevered. Take it in. You have earned this. None of us accomplishes greatness in isolation. As you celebrate, take a moment to appreciate those who have loved you, those who have supported you, those who have ever been kind to you. As graduates of the University of Washington, you hold a distinct and privileged position. Earning a degree from this prestigious institution places you among the top 2% of your peers worldwide. Yes. This achievement reflects not only your dedication and intellect, but also the immense opportunities now available to you. In the years that follow this momentous day, I wish for each of you to find your life's purpose guided by the vast reciprocity of creativity and courage that lies within each of you. You are stepping into a world that needs your courage and creativity more than ever. The challenge we face, a warming planet, rampant inequality, a tilt toward authoritarianism, inhumane deportation policies, mass starvation, yes, children burning in tents, demands fearless thinking, fresh perspectives, and of course, courageous action. When I was 22, the age of many of you today, I had begun pursuing a career in the insurance industry in Houston. Over the course of a month, I made a decision to sell that sporty car Magia My father helped me finance, quit my job, left behind family and friends to help found a social justice organization in Washington. Thank you. It would come to be known as El Centro de la Raza, the Center for People of All Races. Thank you. It would become my life's work. In the months ahead, I would be married to my dear husband in a beautiful indigenous ceremony in the basement of El Centro de la Raza. In a moment of bold vision and unwavering determination, we peacefully reclaimed the old Beacon Hill School, a once forgotten and boarded up relic. Where others saw abandonment, we saw opportunity. We envisioned a space brimming with life, where community could flourish, where people's basic needs would be met with dignity, and where dreams could take shape. When my late husband, Roberto Maestas, a husky like you, was asked what would become of El Centro de la Raza, his words rang with prophetic truth. There will be an explosion of creativity, and indeed, from the moment we breathe new purpose into those walls, a surge of innovation and culture took hold. Adults learning English, families, communities of color, allies, educators, and artists all came together, weaving a tapestry of hope and progress. What was once a forgotten structure becoming a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of community and the unstoppable force of collective imagination. All righty. As I look back, I am struck by how I somehow knew what I most deeply wanted to contribute to the world. I managed to quiet the chorus of external and internal voices that told me, you should be this way, or accomplish these things, or earn this much. Following the path of your inner knowing takes courage. It is often not the easiest path, but it is the most gratifying. I have found that one of the most profound paths to fulfillment lies in serving others, uplifting those who are left out, locked out, and most in need. This meaning is what brings real richness to life. So this is my advice to you. Trust the powerful inner knowing that each of you has. Listen attentively to the truth that lives within you. Maybe it comes through loudly, and maybe it is a quiet whisper. And live that truth courageously with creativity. Creativity is not only expression through art, music, or literature. It is about bold ideas, innovative solutions, and daring to imagine a better future. Creativity is the spark that ignites change. It is the bridge between problems and solutions, between reality and your dreams. So I ask you, how will you reimagine systems, challenge norms, and build something extraordinary like we did at El Centro de la Raza? You have the vision to see beyond what exists today and dare to reimagine and build a better way. With your degree in hand, you are part of a select group of unparalleled opportunities, not just for a promising career, but for something greater, to build what Dr. King referred to as the beloved community, a world rooted in justice, equity, and compassion. All right. This country has always been a work in progress, strengthened over centuries by the struggles for equality for women, working people, people of color, and other marginalized groups. But today, our democratic values and fundamental rights are under threat. Restrictions on free speech, protest, and cuts to essential programs like Social Security, Medicare, and veteran services are making life harder for families struggling to feed their children and to pay the rent. Institutions that have long supported our society are rapidly being dismantled. Yet, across the country, the voices of young people like you, with unwavering and principled support, people are rallying because now more than ever, engagement is crucial. Staying informed, voting, speaking out, and holding leaders accountable ensures that our voices are heard. Every action, no matter how small, counts in protecting our shared values and securing a just future. Because we know there are enough resources in this world for all to live a dignified life, free from misery and lack of access to basic human needs. Yes. The baton is now in your hands. Today, I challenge you, how will you use your accomplishments and privilege to serve others? How will you take action to protect democracy and the guarantees of our Constitution? How will you help create a government that works for all and not just the 1%? The road ahead is filled with challenges, but it is in these moments that bold new ideas and creativity becomes the catalyst for change. When we dare to reimagine, innovate, and lead with vision, we ignite a sense of possibility in our communities. Democracy, when defended, remains a powerful path toward justice. And now is the moment to protect it, strengthen, and nurture hope in our people. Thank you. Hope is not passive, it is fueled by action, courage, and the unwavering belief that a better future is within our reach. We just have to defend and fight for it. Imagine a world where every graduate used their creativity and knowledge to uplift others. Graduates, this is a significant milestone in your journey. You are now empowered more than ever to create positive change and leave a lasting impact. Let us work together to build a brighter, more just, and compassionate future. Congratulations, class of 2025. Your community and the world is waiting for you. Thank you. So there is a tradition in the Mexican and the Latino community that says vivas, which means long live. And so when I say Viva Estudiantes with all your strong voices, you put your fist in the air and you say Viva. So I'm gonna start off with Viva los Estudiantes! Viva! Viva la Universidad de Washington! Viva! Viva la comunidad! Viva! Mil gracias and good luck. We love you.
Thank you so much, Estella, for your inspiring words and for your lifelong commitment to justice and community. It is now my pleasure to introduce our graduate student speaker, Rayshawn Swenson. Today, Rayshawn graduates with her master's degree in Educational Foundations, Leadership, and Policy, with a specialization in early childhood policy. She is the first in her family to earn a master's degree, a milestone made possible, as she's shared, by the strength and support of the remarkable women who raised her. Rayshawn is an early learning public policy fellow with Pathways of Washington and a passionate advocate for equity in early childhood education. She began working with infants and toddlers in 2017 and brings both lived experience and deep professional expertise to her advocacy. A proud mother of two, Rayshawn credits her incredible husband for his unwavering support throughout her academic journey. Looking ahead, she plans to continue her studies with a focus on intergenerational trauma, specifically exploring the impact of post-traumatic slave syndrome on the early learning experiences of Black children. Please join me now in welcoming to the podium Rayshawn Swenson.
Thank you, Dean Twan. Good evening to my fellow graduates, our families that supported us, friends that helped us create Pathways, our instructors who were forced to laugh at my jokes, and to those who will one day be here in these very seats. This is for you. We made it, not just with knowledge, but with heart, with soul, with the kind of creativity that isn't framed on a wall, but lives in us, in our choices, in our resilience, and the quiet, courageous moments no one else sees. See, today, I want to talk to you about creativity, not the kind that's just about innovation, but the kind that's rooted in survival, transformation, and liberation. As someone who began this journey as a preschool teacher, I've sat with families who are now afraid to walk into school buildings because of discrimination, immigration raids, and experiences in classrooms that didn't fully see their children. I've listened as caregivers told me they didn't think school was for their children. I've stood beside Black families whose children, especially their boys, were being pushed out of classrooms for behaviors, when really they were just being children, navigating a world that didn't always protect their joy. And then I had my own beautiful little Black boy with beautiful superpowers. And suddenly, those conversations hit differently. I found myself feeling all the things these families felt: the weight, the worry, the wondering if the world would make room for my son's light without trying to dim it. And that's when I realized this work is not theoretical, it's personal. It's what fuels my belief that creativity is about liberation. It's about imagination in the face of injustice. It's about building something radically different for the children and families we love. Creativity is not optional, especially from those of us from marginalized communities. It's how we've dreamed of a better future when the present feels impossible. It's how we've navigated systems that weren't built for us and still found ways to grow, to build, to belong. Today's graduates, we are stepping into a world full of layered challenges, systemic inequities, cultural erasures, policy decisions that often overlook the voices of the most impacted. To build something new, we must be courageous enough to dream differently. and creativity will be our blueprint. Our ancestors and our elders have always known how to make a way out of no way. When doors were closed, they built their own. They started Head Start preschools in church basements, held study groups on porches, found lesson in song, in stories, and in every corner of life. Our ancestors, who raised whole families while caring for other people's children, didn't always have access to education or grants and scholarships, but they had vision, they had creativity. They made something from nothing so we can be here today. And that legacy, it lives in us. Graduates, I want you to take a moment. Think about who your creativity honors. Is it a grandmother who never got to finish school? A parent who worked the night shift to support your goals and vision? A mentor who saw your light when you couldn't see it yourself? Every class you showed up to, every paper you turned in, every late night or early morning, that was creativity in motion. That was resistance. That will be your legacy. Let's be honest, we didn't get here just by meeting deadlines. I miss some of mine. That wasn't written in here, or posting in decision or discussion boards. We got here while grieving, while fighting, while doubting, and while surviving. But we also got here while imagining and while organizing, while loving each other enough to keep us pushing. And that's why I know our work doesn't stop here. The people sitting next to you, they're not just classmates, they're lifelines. They're co-dreamers. They'll remind you of your worth when system tries to make you forget it. So today, as we celebrate, I want to honor the collective effort that brought us here. This moment belongs to all of us. Finally, I want to leave you with this. Creativity is powerful. Your story is powerful. And when we use them together, we create classrooms, communities, and futures that reflect the full brilliance of us all. So go forward, not just to fit into the world as it is, but to build the world as it can be. Congratulations, graduates. We did it.
Thank you, Rayshawn. Now the moment has come to honor our graduating doctoral, specialist, and master's students. As we begin to recognize each of our graduates, please remember that only graduates and event staff are permitted on the arena floor. Professional photographers will be capturing this special moment for each graduate, and these photos will be made available to you after the ceremony. We have many students to honor this evening, so I kindly ask for your patience as we celebrate everybody's achievements. It's now my pleasure to invite Dr. Janine Jones, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, to introduce our doctoral, specialist, and master's degree graduates.
Thank you, Dean Tuan, and welcome. We're grateful that you've joined us this evening to celebrate our remarkable doctoral, specialist, and master's graduates. We will begin with our doctoral graduates first, individuals who have dedicated many years, often 3 to 6 years, to intense study and original research, all while balancing academic demands with full-time work and family obligations. Throughout their programs, they've asked important questions and employed a wide range of research methods, from oral interviews to design-based research methods to statistical modeling and single case studies. As they step forward as researchers, educators, policymakers, and psychologists, they will make meaningful impacts locally, nationally, and around the world. As we read their names and faculty members present each graduates with their doctoral hoods, We encourage everyone to celebrate their achievements on social media using the hashtags you can find on the back of your program. Hashtag EdGrads25 and hashtag UWGrads. Let's give them our heartfelt congratulations.
Hassan A. Kirkland.
Deanna Lana Weezar.
Pauline Charlotte Dott.
Lauren Plitkins.
Stacy Marie Alfonso.
Saraswati Noel.
Candace Hubbard.
Elizabeth Schuster.
Gina Haidar.
Christina Novak Konstanturos.
Marta Picotto.
Jessica Flaherty.
All right, say it for me. Want to make sure I get it right. Dawit Alamayeho.
Allison Wilhelm.
Shayla Renee Chatto.
Winifred Roseboro Gillens.
Hui Yu Lin.
Lu Shu.
Now it is time to recognize our educational specialist and Master of Education graduates. This skillful group has committed themselves to meeting the academic, social, and emotional needs of youth across our communities. Our educational specialist graduates will become nationally certified school psychologists, providing vital psychoeducational assessments, consultation, and counseling services in schools. Our Master of Education graduates will step into roles as educational administrators, policymakers, teachers, curriculum specialists, community advocates, and leaders within nonprofit organizations. Before we begin reading their names, we kindly ask that everyone remain in their seats until all graduates have been recognized, so that every student receives the celebration and respect that they deserve.
Carson Brees.
Alexa Laurel Herzog.
Koana Chong Ayasaka.
Naomi Side.
Lauren Price.
Yue Zheng.
Ariel Miller.
Lavina Lee.
Sierra Winters.
Jane Kim.
Rachel Lauren Savalio.
Maya Bruzen Kelly.
Naomi Martinez Ubay.
Emily Robin Allen.
Susanna Hallowell Lapsley.
Misa Luong.
Marcia Campbell.
Crystal Blades.
Jacob Shapiro.
Amber Vongputon.
Caroline Lee.
Kiana Taylor. Yuhao Zhao.
Athena Sock.
Jalin Jo.
Rolando Gonzalez Guerrero.
Yenyi Kuo.
Jennifer Eugene Kim.
Alini Silverio Salinas.
Randall Balboa Saya.
Cassandra Canales Westerland.
Danielle Isaguirre Badari.
Jumana Sunbul.
Laura Brown.
Shantair Vang.
Sarah Sidney Kaplan.
Emma Carlson.
Monica Eloisa Aguirre Carvajal.
Hang Jo.
Sarah Mohammed Ibrahim.
Zach Perry.
Ping Shang Lu.
Augusta Yu.
Brenda Reyes Jimenez.
Angelo Alavizatos.
Sabrina Lopez Elejalde.
Erica Hyunhee Lee.
Rayshawn Swenson.
Thank you. Erin Micah Posner.
Madison Howard.
Jared Estes.
Claire Stromberg.
Chloe Grundeman.
Marie Supanich.
Nicole Dowell.
Rongshuan Huang.
Annie Wong.
Nguyen Natalie Su.
Suni Va.
Claudia Estaribia Gomez Sanchez.
Irina Chen.
Jia Xiun Shui.
Viet Nguyen.
Minghui Xin.
Chuan Yu Fan.
Okay. Ziki Kuo.
Lan Ding.
Emily Lago Anderson.
Yinshan Wu.
Nigel P. Farr.
Sydney Yintung Lin.
Melvin Estes Glaspie.
Swapnil Shweta.
Craig Lavon Jackson.
Sahar Batis.
Audrey Mullen.
Jada Edwards.
Catherine Billington Walter Feltner.
Maxwell Cameron Cordry Hansen.
Andrea Enriquez Olvera.
Madeline Im.
Inez Tapia.
Taylor Karstens.
Zixia Zhang.
Sarah Carlson.
Jergong Zhang.
Biyun Rebecca Dong.
Jules Schusterman.
Briannon Toledo.
Nasaya Ecolis.
Christy Thomas.
Mindy Cha.
Mausami Darji.
Naomi Chuck.
Kelly Nguyen.
Stephanie Myers.
Kayla Nicole De Leon Henry.
Pei Ting Hong.
Jack Corfage.
Jia Shan Tan.
Catherine Keeney.
Dara Colon Murillo.
Michaela Willis.
Christine Joy Butcher.
Megan Lukatich.
Katie Elizabeth Stickney.
Maya Nuno.
Emily Brenham Pierce.
Carson Farmer.
Emily Fogel. Never mind. Oh, I have more, okay. Kiana Fuega. Ruth AODG. Clara Beckman Lippert. Let's see. Karen Calles. Malika Campbell. Megan Michelle Britton. What's up? Eric John Solbakken. Sophia Ariane Havar. Yasmin Garfias. Hannah Joy Virgin. Oh, there's one. Okay. That's good. Let's see. Frida Crichton. Ooh. Violet Crichton. Donyetta Sanford. Oh, we got more. Okay. Savannah Cherie Hendrickson. Omar Vergara. Sophia Jansen. Jeremiah Howard.
They're going on this side now. Okay. Wait. Did that work? I'm gonna tell you how to say it. Ella Blankenship.
Alex Kramer.
Won Jong Lee.
Ryan Carrick.
Siobhan Elizabeth Miller.
Donna Elizabeth Higa.
Elena Selena Itza Stark.
Dominique Alexis Latrice Niang.
Josh Slate.
Eugenia Hazel.
Kara Renee Pangolinan.
Abigail Bernhard.
Riley C. Maloney.
Aguirre. Anna Maybelline Aguirre Mendoza.
Kira Ann Doe.
Andrea Delgado Tren.
Diana Lynette Laguan.
Ariana Villalobos.
Kelsey Osorio Ojeda.
Isabel Alexandra Ochoa Abaro.
Julianne Browning.
Juan So.
Elizabeth Lujano Caballero.
Alicia Mimi Kim.
Cameron Everett.
Isaac Lee.
George Robertson V.
Jisung Park.
Eric Christian Malisha.
Aliyah Marie Lacrosse.
Stephen Thomas Barber.
Liam Geyser.
John Yoshiki Jarman.
Michael Joshua Hakomi Jr.
Sophia Nikolov.
Perry Mia.
Jaden Murphy.
Cindy Tren.
Adol Gagneja.
Karnitha Sabia Namam.
Emma Fabier.
Zoe Davis.
Aubrey McGregor Moore.
Ellie Macon.
Kira Clark.
Nauko Sedota.
Neve Ward.
Jung Nan Zo.
Nina DeMarkin.
Yuji Leng.
Angela Yue Wu.
Alexandra Brockman.
Taiping Zhu.
Sophia Helena Breck.
Clayton Rogers.
Viola Isabella Tabaras.
Jules Raymond.
Lila Cooney.
Abbott Finney.
Natalia Carini Reed.
Noah Cooper.
Ruth Lisbeth Navarro Sandoval.
Joe Armand Trejo Condit.
Stephanie T. Mai.
Jaren Osaki.
Chloe Joan McDonald.
Dee Pomeroy.
Lydia Montgomery.
Boyce Asquith.
Una Catherine Sutherland.
Cornelius Airsos.
Michaela Isabel Hughes.
Julian Perlow Alla.
Toi Manita Ung Ajimagu.
Allison Loeb.
Sojin Jun.
Zoe Trudeau.
I'll do my best. Erica Kate Abiyani Farai.
Madeline Eyal.
Zoe Abasamis. Do you want to change?
Ainsley Orwin.
Athena Bautista.
Abigail Card LaFrance.
Giovanna Monet Vaughn.
Cecile Johnson.
Mana Esteban.
Chloe Anderson.
Teo Alicia Zimmerman.
Leondi Yuan.
Samira Sheikh Ali.
Madison Newell.
Danielle Benita Senor.
Kieran Pupat.
Meg Halverson.
Sean William Purdy.
Lauren Aiko Lee.
Eva Christine Talmadge.
Devre Faith Cotto.
Hannah Twaddell.
Selena Salgado.
Catherine Duffy.
Kimberly Korf.
Pooja Bhavesh Vora.
JC Joy Littrell.
Luciana Ribeiro dos Santos.
Gabriela Raquel Julia Johansson.
Allie Osgood.
Madeline Manalia.
Emma Gallardi.
Dimitri Robert Dunas Frazier.
And
Christopher Sears.
Inhe Esther Suk.
Kyle Hicks.
Megan Rowell. Bianca Phillipson. Alana K. Santos. Allison Breeze. Danielle Hoke. Abby Spangler. Okay. Deja Sofer Frazier. Mackinsley Tinsley. Deron Bryant. PJ Taggart.
May I be one of the first to congratulate all our new doctoral, specialist, and master's graduates. You should be incredibly proud of this achievement. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our undergraduate student speaker, Angel Nicole Castro Estrella. Angel graduates today with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Early Care and Education. She is a creative and determined individual who has skillfully balanced the demands of being a full-time student, employee, and family member. Growing up in the Philippines shaped Angel's resilient and resourceful spirit, qualities that continue to guide her every step. Through her experiences, she has learned the power of creativity, adaptability, and finding strength in every challenge. Please join me in warmly welcoming Angel to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Tawan, for your kind introduction. Magandang gabi. Good evening, everyone. Fellow graduates, faculty, families, and friends. Tonight, we gather to mark an achievement and honor the journey, the struggles, the late nights, and the resilience that brought us here. As I stand here, I am reminded of the word discarte from my Filipino roots. In English, it translates to strategize, but its true meaning goes much deeper. Discarte is about resourcefulness, creativity, and adaptability, creating progress through uncertainty and making every resource count. If you've ever cranked out a 10-page paper at 2 a.m. with nothing but caffeine in your system, a dying laptop, and pure willpower, congratulations, you've mastered the art of discarte. If you're a parent who has packed lunch for yourself and your kids, answered 100 questions before 8 a.m., dropped the kids off, prepped for a meeting, and still made it to work on time, congratulations, you've mastered the art of discarte as well. Growing up in the Philippines, my family didn't always have the latest gadgets, but we had discarte. My mom, an educator and creative force, turned everyday materials into meaningful lessons. My dad, a hands-on problem solver, made things work, whether at home or on the job. And my brothers stood by me with a quiet strength and steady support. I'm deeply grateful to them for showing me the power of creativity, resourcefulness, and love. But we didn't get here alone. Every late night, sacrifice, and quiet victory belongs to all of us. It's easy to overlook the unwavering support from parents, siblings, friends, mentors, and partners. Those who stand by us through love, laughter, and even little quarrels, everything in between. Their creativity, resilience, and consistent presence is a part of why we are here today. So take a moment to recognize them. Give them a hug, send a text, or even just wave. Because when life pushes us to our limits, like college did, that support in discarte means everything. College tested my discarte in new ways. Like many of you, I found myself caught in the middle, not qualifying for aid, yet still struggling to cover tuition. To make it work, many of us have worked 20 to 30 hours a week, or even longer, while attending school full-time. It wasn't easy, but we stayed focused, persistent, and pushed through. And in my last 2 years, I was fortunate to receive a scholarship that eased the burden. That support, along with the mindset of discarte, helped carry us through. In this program, we've also leaned on discarte. I'm sure many of you have faced moments when things didn't go as planned, when a lesson didn't land, technology glitched, or the children simply just lost focus. I remember this one read-aloud activity where a child grew restless. Every time I turned the page, like many of us, we thought on our feet, transforming a story into a performance. We acted out the characters, used different voices, and made sure to invite the children to join in. What started as a struggle blossomed into a moment of laughter and engagement. That was discarte in action, turning everyday challenges into moments that sparked light and joy. Whether at home, in school, or in the community, I've learned that we don't need perfection to create. We just need to make the most of what's in front of us. Descarte is about solving problems with creativity, approaching obstacles with smarter, wiser solutions while staying true to ourselves. So let's carry that mindset forward, transforming challenges into opportunities and letting our own light shine bright. That spirit of Descarte isn't something we only switch sometimes. It's a part of everything we do. We create every day with our ideas, our voices, our choices. Each of us has added something to the long, winding path toward freedom and fulfillment. Whether in classrooms, on stages, or out in the world, or in quiet moments of reflection, we've all made a mark. So today is not just a celebration, it's a declaration of who we are becoming. Let's unleash our creativity, not just for ourselves, but for those who come next. Let's lead with purpose, courage, and Descarte. Kapit lang, kaya natin to. Hold on tight, we can all do this. Congratulations to us all. Salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Angel. And now Dr. Lynn Dietrich, Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Programs, will introduce our students earning bachelor's degrees.
Thank you, Dean Tuan. And welcome to everyone gathered to celebrate our Bachelor of Arts graduates in the College of Education. Our students have shown remarkable persistence and dedication in successfully completing degrees in early childhood and family studies, early care and education, education, communities, and organizations, education studies, or a minor in education, learning, and society. Throughout their studies, they have explored teaching and learning across cultural contexts, throughout the lifespan, and in diverse settings. They have examined the intersectionality of their own identities alongside those of the communities they live and work in. Through community-based learning experiences, our students have engaged a wide range of partners, learning deeply from those relationships. They leave us with a passion for educational justice and a dedication to dismantle inequitable systems, serving as change agents for children, youth, and families, and communities. We invite all graduates and guests to please remain with us for the reading of the Bachelor of Arts degree recipients as we honor each student's achievements. We will now begin reading the names of our Bachelor of Arts graduates.
Kim Lam Nguyen.
Emma Alexis Boravong.
Olivia Tanu Jaja.
Austin Larson.
Gabriela Renee Espinoza Duarte.
Taryn Kanashiro.
Jack Olson.
Candace Tinnen.
Allison Rebecca Jakeway.
Christine Malialani Wilson.
Catherine Jean Bailey.
Nayeli Rivas Ramos. Manira.
Emmy Foltz.
Manira Abdi.
Isabel Riddle.
Fadimo Suleiman.
Avery Monsef.
Samia Suleiman.
Grace Sung Cho. Diana Leticia Perez Campos. Chloe Alpin. Zulemi de la Cruz Uloya. Chloe Browsey. Kira Steinkirchner. Carissa Holcomb. Amber Cho. Chao Yu Du. Jun Jie Kong. Christina Weinmiller. Tara Bronson. Michaela Talon Thomas. Yasmin Rodriguez Anaya. Quinn Meath. Kayla Meixner. Elizabeth Kawaguchi. Evan Cade. Brooklyn Harris. Jacqueline Berganza Ventura. Joseph Oscarson. Giselle Alvarado Rosales. Colby Flynn. Itzel Badillo Guzman. Kayla Gonzaga. Chi Win. Lily Fields. Sofia Correa Escobar. Michelle Lee. Christiana Page. Joanna Shee. Madison Lords. Jansen Jones. Qingduo Cheng. Hugh Ann Nguyen. Samantha Pena. Nawal Mohammed. Tianxin Zhang. Khadija Sheikh. Sophia Joy Martin. Emma Neese. David Del Cid Saavedra. Stella Firth Wang. Bricia Mundo.
Jasmine Yuan.
Carla Victoria Madera.
Preston Miguel Rivas.
Samahara Aguilar Navarro.
Stephen Tang.
Sirasak Tanumjit.
Luke Lenhart.
Rita Lucille McGarry.
Jason Song.
Jacqueline Vivian Aldrich.
Francisco Dohenya.
Eliza Wyman.
Emily Dominguez Zepeda.
Caleb Brown.
Jasper Patno.
Jacob Wallstrom.
Austin Newell.
Finn Johnson.
Marcus Andrew Perez Hernandez.
Keegan Bailey.
Caleb Herminio Aguilar.
Charlotte Adams.
Zainab Khalil.
Nyla Green.
Jasmine Lin.
Sarath Mao.
Chao Yun Lo.
Kelly Young.
Mindy Chong.
Erica Mago Guzman.
Judy Fu.
Alicia Theos.
Megan Sexton Hartman.
Claire Tui.
Meryl May Hubbard.
Isaac Panichub.
Reese Adric.
Lillian Nguyen.
Finn Guzman.
Kylie Rose Galanti.
Russell Patter.
Muna Abdi.
Rildo Abernos.
Una Mary Georges.
Yunyi Ju.
Scout Beth.
Xiaohan Ho.
Kay Benson.
Jameson Nicole Foster.
Kristen Devers.
Pedro Corres.
Kushveen Kaur.
Ginger Harris.
Ione Fox.
Mary Sweeney.
Vivian Vu.
Kirsten Hansen.
Cody Vale. I think it's her.
Anastasia Isole Micaele.
Sierra Wang.
Alexandria McCord.
Mary Fiona Rudolph.
Shinshung Lee.
Lillian Hancock.
Nathaniel Lee.
Astrid Wong.
Phoenix Crease.
Alyssa Jerins Mapu.
Magnolia Wood.
Jahan Mohammed Abukar.
Priscilla Shong.
Morgan Dennis.
Esther Lee.
Angel Nicole Castro Estrella.
Callie May Lowney.
Skyla Steen.
Kate Geyser.
Jenny Stamps.
Haley Nelson.
Leika Shrikumar.
Ziyan Huang.
Vanessa Kaush.
Amina Garcia.
Hongri Lu.
Shauna Sierra Fan.
Sarah Rubino.
Dia Call.
Macy Smith.
Mary Jane Powers.
Charmaine Dung.
Danielle Elise Sanchez.
Xin Lei Zhang.
Eve Thompson.
Jingwei Liu.
Si Xiaoxin.
Jaishi Kan Yuan.
Yuan Huan Zhen.
Will Chen.
Yi Xian He.
Cici Yin.
Charlotte Molnar.
Luoshui Zhao.
Yekui Yolanda Yu.
Ting Liu.
Will Hansen.
Si Chi Ye.
Raven Wright.
Yirong Si.
Yuki Xing.
Stephanie Hernandez.
Carlos Rosas Pacheco.
Jenalyn Ann Kawikiolani Okazaki.
Odalis Herrera.
Shireen Kwan.
Karen Stacy Ocampo.
Jenny Yang.
Isa Marie Venice.
Najmo M. Abdi.
Ruwaila Abdullah Salat.
Autumn Reed.
Jiangnan Wang.
Sumaya Elmi.
Ruby Gamilius.
Kauthar Al-Bakri.
Jamie Shin.
Eva Silvestri.
Alexa Black.
Anayo Enders.
Jenny Hong.
Sofia Hernandez.
Amy Cow.
Jessica Felix.
Xie Hao Feng. Jonas Schifferer. Aiden Trice. Ling Tai. Huya Xiao. Zhayi Zhao. Ranyu Ma. Xiang Wang.
And the following students are graduates from our online Bachelor of Arts in Early Care and Education. Jessica Armistead. Kauthar Al-Bakari. Emily Aguilera. Annette Burkhalter. Abdi Rahman Esmail. Christina Folk. Joanna Fife. Dee Gatlin. Shamila Shanail Harris. Laura Jansen. Tessa Judy. Andrea Kirkby, Ava Mass, Michaela Martin, Annalyn Gerlon Monroe, Rachel O'Reilly, Susan Schreiber, Becca Tansley, Ray White, Taryn McGrath, and Brawen Iverson.
Congratulations to our Bachelor of Arts graduates, and heartfelt thanks to everyone who has supported them on their journeys. All right, we're almost at the finish line. In just a moment, we will conclude our ceremony with the meaningful ritual of the turning of the tassel, symbolizing your transition from candidate to graduate. After the program, we hope everyone will stay and celebrate together. Graduates, please take this opportunity to introduce your family and friends to our faculty and staff and to capture some special photos to remember the day. Before we close, a special thank you goes to the architects of today's event. Assistant Dean for Academic and Student Affairs, Marty Howell, along with the dedicated team of staff and volunteers who worked tirelessly to make this day so memorable for our graduates. At this time, I ask all students to please rise. You may now move your tassels from the right to the left to officially mark the completion of your degrees. Graduates, on behalf of the faculty and staff of the University of Washington College of Education, we wish you the very best as you step into this next exciting phase of your lives. The work of building a more equitable world through education is one of the highest callings of our time, and each of you will play a vital role in moving us closer to a just, sustainable, and culturally thriving democracy. You're ready for this important task, and I am inspired by the change I know you will bring to the field of education. Remember, the University of Washington College of Education will always be your community. Thank you, congratulations once again, and go Huskies.